ever so much for coming to the Hunger Games. Please, you're in the front row, aren't you? I should apologise, that's not the most motivational, uplifting comedy start to a show, is it? It's a bit uncomfortable, certainly for you. A bit like this outfit is a little bit. You know, my mates, obviously it's called it the Hunger Games because I'm always hungry, right? And thank you. And my name rhymes with games. Simple. It's clever, it's the process. And my mate said to me about a month ago, James, what if you get loads of Hunger Games fans come in and there's no Katniss or whatever her name is, and they're going to be very upset, and very upset. I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll have the theme tune at the beginning, right, and then I'll wear this, the little jumpsuit, and it'll be fun. Ticking all the boxes. I'm not thinking that I've got another 59 fucking minutes wearing this. You're welcome, mate, you're welcome. I thought I was going to look a little bit like Eddie Murphy in that Raw stand-up thing with the red and the black. It's not working, is it? But right, now what I should explain before I start is hopefully you all saw on all the flyers, this is a work in progress, okay? So this is an hour of me just bumbling along, trying to make something of a show that might be actually good in the future. It's basically a story of my life, and there's going to be some funny bits, because, you know, there's some funny bits, and not all of it's going to be funny, because not all my life has been funny. So I'm sorry about that, and there'll be moments where I've written stuff that's funny, that you decide actually isn't funny, and we will decide that this evening, so thank you. So you're all my guinea pigs, thank you ever so much. I mean, you're not, mate, obviously you're like a wolf, like a lone bull bear or something. There's some cougars there. So you know, we started, and thank you ever so much, I really appreciate it. I'll try and keep it down to an hour if I can. If you want to leave, because it's very hot in here, you know, that's fine, I won't get upset. I've been practicing this on my own in the lounge enough, so. So anyway, I'm going to move this, because I've got some notes, so I'll make no apologies. This is, I've only run through this a few times, but it will be good, and at some point during time. So right, okay, I decided to write this show because I have recently lost a hell of a lot of weight. Thank you, ladies. A nice bit of support for the ladies. All the men just looking as though say, Jesus, how fucking far away am I? Yeah. Oh no. I've only got 60 minutes. I can't chat. Right. I've lost a few stone, and if you thought this looked bad now, imagine it back then. So it's okay. And I would chat, but 60 minutes. Right. So I thought, right, where did it all go wrong? Okay, because I do take full responsibility for my weight, alright? I'm not like these Channel 5 documentaries, you know, the boy the size of a house, and he goes, oh, my great-granny was fat, and my granny was fat, and my mum was fat, so I'm fat, so that's the reason. I think, Christ, it's not a knock-on effect, is it, mate? It's not domino, well, it probably is dominoes, isn't it, but that's... Is this just for me? Yes, again, it's breakfast, and, but, you know, I just, these people are like, oh, it's genetic, I'm big bones, that's what it is. Well, it's a nice little preview for you lovely people at Bath. I can let you know tonight, this is not Big Bones. This is Big Macs. Supersized meal. Yeah, so I'm always honest with myself. And I decided, you know, the blame rests on me entirely. So I thought, right, I've got to go right back in my life to the beginning of time. Oh, we haven't got the budget for sound effects, that's just me, okay. In the proper show, that'll all be built in. But so I went right back, okay, and life has been tough on me, and you'll probably hear a bit about this, but, you know, health is taking its toll, and food has taken its toll, but I was born, you're going to gasp now, but I was actually, honestly, born in the mid-70s, okay, and I look back now, and I shut the fuck up, and he's like, shut up, but I went back and I looked and I thought, well, the 70s was an amazing time. For those of you who grew up in the 70s, an amazing time for change, okay? People were changing their black and white tellies to colour TVs, and people making food were doing amazing stuff like prawn cocktail crisps. Prawn cocktail as a starter in a crisp is amazing. And fusing peanuts with chocolate. I mean, it's witchcraft, isn't it, basically? But as a result, though, right, food companies were coming up with amazing adverts and amazing things to excite the kids in the late 70s, early 80s, like a finger of fudge is just enough to give your kids a treat. Woo! Right? Got kids? You got kids? Do you want a fudge? Got fudge? Here we go. I've come prepared. Who wants a fudge? Anybody?
Me? Yeah.
Brilliant, there you go, lovely. I'm not good at throwing. I've got myself a diet fudge. There we go. You know, there were other ones. If you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, join our club. Yeah, it was a club. We got a club biscuit. Anyone? Yeah, you were first, mate. Look at you. Oh, dude, see you in 10 years. Right. Oh wait, no, I need the energy. Just one good little give it away. Well done, lovely. Oh, mate, I haven't got a portable freezer. He's looking excited. throw it, James. I'm not going to. Anyway, so, I mean, what was the alternative? If you wanted to be a healthy kid, there were no clever jingles, were there? The only one you had was ho ho ho, green giant. That was it. No thanks, you big green freak. I don't want any tinned sweet corn. No incentive, is it, for a kid? That's nice, that fudge. Right, I remember though, there was one advert that sort of excited you and made you think it might be healthy. Hopefully some of you remember this. Some labourers were on their way home from work in the back of a Morris van or something, and they were wondering what they were going to have for tea. They're like, will it be mushrooms? Could be healthy, mushrooms, no butter, that's good. Fried onion rings, no, it's the 70s, fucking fried, great. You'll have to wait and see. Hope it's chips. We hope it's chips. Good, just me. Okay, but I did hope it was chips, I'll be honest with you. One thing I would say, looking back, right, is my granny was a very fussy eater. Born in the 20s, grew up throughout everything, she just wanted meat and a couple of veg. My mum, as default, she was a fussy eater, right? And everything she would cook was with oven chips. Fucked up already, okay, brilliant. This is just shit, I'm going. But you know, I know, disgraceful. No, it's fine, I understand, you'll all be gone by half past. No, stick with it, it's fine. But my mum, right, my mum pretty much brought me up on her own, okay? And she worked about 60, 65 hours a week, all the hours God send, God bless her, and she didn't have any time to slave over a hot meal when she got back, so she would just chuck stuff in the oven, alright? And it would be fish fingers, burgers, chips, that sort of stuff. And I remember as a kid, really young, when she got back and she might have some paperwork to do or whatever, she would chuck in her favourite meal, quick meal, which was McCain's oven pizzas and chips, and that's what she loved, okay, which is fine. But me as a fussy little kid, I'd look and go, Jesus, I'm not eating any of that foreign muck, that's disgusting, right? I didn't have pizza until I was 21, okay? Honestly, our course director on our degree, she took us out to celebrate finishing our degree course. She took us to a pizzeria, it's the mid-90s, mate, remember, it's a new world. And she took us all out and we enjoyed a pizza. The first time I had a pizza, 21, university, right? I didn't have curry or rice or pasta or any of that until I was 25 when my wife cooked it for me, right, just after we got married. I'm not throwing out aspersions here, I'm just saying higher education and marriage is pretty bad for your health. Thank you. So, back when I was a kid, okay, my longest memory of my grandparents, my great-grandparents, is we met on a Saturday morning, every Saturday morning, and my great-granny, my granny, my granddad, and my mum, we'd all go shopping. Fair and Precinct in Hampshire, and she would give me 20p pocket money every Saturday morning, right, which is amazing back then. It went up slowly, she wasn't that tight, and like any 5-year-old, as you can imagine, you're thinking, what did you do with it? Maybe a deposit on a car, maybe you saved up for a down payment on a house. No, like any 5-year-old, I spent that 20p on a carrot. No, it wasn't, it was a banana. No, it wasn't, it was a packet of munchies, right, they were 20p back then. Mate, cry, you want to check it out? Lovely, square tube there, brilliant, 20p, wonderful, and I love chocolate. It was a rare occasion when my mum met me after school. She managed to get away from work, and she said, James, put your hand out. And I put my hand out, and she put in my hand a gold coin. I thought, Christ, I bloody love chocolate. This is awesome. And she said, no, you can't eat that, James. That's a pound coin. They've just produced the pound coins. They got rid of pound notes. And I was like, oh, shit. I can't eat this. And then I was like, hang on, pound coin, you say? That's 5 packets of munchies. That's bloody awesome. Anyway, what I can't remember as a kid is that was predominantly what I remember, is food, and being pummeled with food and adverts stuff. There wasn't really anything to do with sport, you know? There wasn't really anything hit hard about. The only sport I remember was every weekday morning before school, breakfast TV, and you'd have Thin Lizzy in an outfit very similar to this. I'm sorry, mate, I'm sorry. And leg warmers and whatever. Mr. Motivator came later, and there they are doing 3 minutes of exercise Monday to Friday. That's it. And I was there, you know, trying to eat me 500 calories of Cocoa Pops. Come on, to the left, to the right. Don't spill it on the. It doesn't matter. It's the 70s carpet. It's fucked. Oh, thank you. That was that bit that got you. Okay, great. We lived in a tiny little council flat, me and my mum, on the biggest council estate in Europe, and I don't know how, right, there's no callback to this, but I don't know how my mum managed, because she sent me to one of the best schools in the country from the age of 4 to 18. Sacrificed so much. I found out recently that she retired, the highest wage she ever earned just before she retired was £17,000. It blew my mind. And I just thought, I don't know how she's managing to afford to take it. Is it a relay? Great, okay. I'll turn down a break, please. I don't know how she managed to afford this. But I remember as a young kid thinking, I've got to do my best at this school. She's sacrificing so much, paying most of her salary for me to go to this school. So from an early age, I just did my utmost. I did all the music, art, drama, did all the sports. You know, I was in the second 11, mate, thank you. But I was normally captain of that. And basically what I'm saying is I was an all-rounder. And then just a little bit later I was rounder. But I wasn't a fat kid. That's my point. A long way of getting to the point that I wasn't a fat kid, okay? My best mate was massive. There's always one in every year, isn't there? A super huge child. There's a few chubby contenders, but Patrick, my mate, enormous, right? Super fat. And we were about 11 at this time. We didn't call him Patrick, obviously, being kids, we called him Patrick. And well, you know, they're cruel, aren't they? I was called Oldie because it's short for Alderson, which is still my name. Google it. And but my nickname is Mouldy Oldie. I'm not mouldy, but it's you know, it's horrible, isn't it? But amazingly, he had really rich parents, right? Completely opposite to me. Really rich parents, and he used to bring in every day a massive, what we used to call Adidas, you'll know as Adidas, right? A huge Adidas carry bag, a hold-all full of crisps and chocolate and fizzy drinks every day, because his parents owned a newsagent. They were mega rich, right? Back before Tesco Express's newsagents were a thing, okay? And he used to sell them to all of us. I make a fortune in the breaks, and normally during French, actually, when we got a bit bored. And he was obviously captain of the tuck shop. And I remember his parents being rich, because every now and again my mum would take me to the Wimpy. Okay, you don't remember the Wimpy. Come on over to my place. Hey you, we're having a Wimpy. Anyway, I think I just love jingles. It's not food, it's just jingles. But his parents were so rich that they had let him have his birthday party at the Wimpy, which is bloody mental. 15 people buying those little sausages, all that crazy. And he had the mascot, Mr. Wimpy, coming out, which is the worst advert for fast food ever. Mr. Morbidly Obese, just walking out, coronary heart disease nose, you know, so fat you can't see his eyes. I think, you know, what I'm saying is I think that fast food and junk food and all that sort of stuff were born around the same time I was. You know, we were meant to be together, basically. I mean, Mr. Wimpy was just ridiculous. He made the little chef look little, didn't he? Enormous. Do you remember him? Do you remember him?
I'm the same age as you.
You're not, you liar.
75, 90.
Right, okay. Well, anyway, I still love fast food to this day, but I am still very fussy. I went to Burger King a few weeks ago, and I went in because you can have it your way at BK. Do you remember? Have it your way at BK. Anyway, so I went in and I said, "Can I have a Whopper meal?" Right? Because you would, right? With just lettuce and tomato. Okay. And do you know what she said? Do you still want the burger in it? I said, yes, unless you change the name of this fucking place to King. I'm here for a burger, right? Oh, I don't know. I mean, so McDonald's have tried to do their best, haven't they, bless them, to make us think it's healthy. Do you remember that Super Size Me documentary with that man named McDonald's for like 3 months and basically died? And McDonald's panicked and went, oh my God, we've got to sort this out. What we're going to do is we'll be really clever and we'll change our logo from red and yellow to green and yellow. That's clever. And then we're going to change our stores and we'll have wood slats around it, pictures of fields and farmers, and we'll change the outside to black with big windows, and that'll be dark green maybe, and then everybody can see everybody inside eating, just slowly dying. It's basically like a funeral parlour. I'm just going to die whilst I'm here. And then they put the calories on the packaging, which I think is bloody mental. Like you're going to get a cheeseburger meal and sit down, and then you'll look at the 3,000 calories and go, oh God, no, I'm going to have to bring this back. You're not going to change your mind then, are you? It's like getting a hot date back to your bedroom and they get down to their underpants and it just says thrush. You go, no, you just take the cheese off, wouldn't you? No, the burger, the cheese burger, you're sick, I'm Bath, we found your level, sorry. I'm sorry about that. But right, I've no idea how my mum, as I said, brought me up on her own, and she did so much. We did the Wimpy as often as we could, private school, we did all these activities, because kids are bloody expensive. I mean, I'd like to think, compared to my mum, I'm doing pretty well for myself. You know, I'm in a all-in-one lycra doing a free show in the top of a pub in Bath, and you know, I'm doing pretty well. But even with now, right, and it's going well. I sometimes get up on a Monday morning and I'll open the fridge ready to make sandwiches for my kids, and I'll go, right, kids, not got much in. What do you want in your sandwiches? Carrot. Or milk. I mean, it's difficult, it's tough. Anybody who's got kids, you know it's bloody tough. I mean, my dad wasn't around. My dad wasn't around much, I'll be absolutely honest with you. And but when he was bloody strict. Yeah. Super strict. You know, anybody have a shit dad?
Yeah.
Wow, that's rare. I'm going to give you Bath more often. My dad was one of those dads where if he caught you smoking, he'd make you smoke the whole packet. Just teach you a lesson. You smoke the whole packet, you think you're cool smoking that? You know, caught you drinking a can of lager from his crate, he make you drink the whole crate, learn your lesson, you know. Worked out in my favour in the end though, because he caught me shagging one of the netball team. So. No, okay. I'll be honest, that is a lie. I've never smoked. No, maybe I should have smoked, Bath, right? Okay, maybe I should have smoked. It's a hunger suppressant, isn't it? They say, oh, you don't smoke as much because it quenches the hunger. I got to those sort of candy Spider-Man cigarettes, and that was what I stopped. That was all I had. When I was in my teens, I think they started the first sort of helping you quit smoking cigarette things, nicotine, do you remember that? And the slogan always used to tickle me. It was like, helping you quit smoking, one cigarette at a time. I thought, well, shit, I'm dieting, one Mars bar at a time. You know, that's not a great slogan, is it? A Mars a day helps you. Anyway, right, my mum knew that I had this chocolate fetish from an early age, right? And she would try and help my cravings by just, you know, every lunch she would put a finger of chocolate. His face, what? A finger of chocolate in there, you know, like a finger of fudge or a trio, and any of those, and a Kit Kat. Didn't have one. Anyway, it wouldn't do anything for me. It wouldn't stop my cravings at all. It would just send the, you know, saliva into overdrive and the chemist kicking off, and I'd just go and buy 3 more chocolate bars from Captain Patrick, obviously, of the fuck, not the fuck shop. The fuck shop. It wasn't the fuck shop. Till the sixth form. Good night. Now, you probably don't need telling at this point, and he certainly doesn't, is that I was always a bit of a gas bag at school, and there were some subjects I used to wind the teachers up. My maths teacher, I found maths quite easy when I was younger, not so much now. When I was younger, I used to find it quite boring, and my maths teacher used to get driven mental. I think I was about 10 or 11, and he went, Alderson, because that's still my name, Alderson, he said, if Gary had 21 apples and ate 9, how many were left for Steve? And I just said, why is Gary eating 9 apples? He's mental, he's going to be on the toilet all day. I mean, he said, you are not going to get anywhere being the class clown, Alderson. I think he's wrong. He's dead now, fuck him. But you know, he's up there now. You know, but he's not on the net. He's dead. But he's looking down on me like he always did. But but I got an A in maths, so I was pretty pleased with myself. I got my thank you very much. The only A I got, and he said, yeah, no, I didn't. I got some A levels, and I managed to get onto my dream degree course, which I was over the moon about down in Surrey. And it's at this point in my life that I started noticing the creep of fat. Just slowly. You look back at pictures now and there's nothing of me, it's bloody annoying, but at that time I'm thinking, Jesus, maybe it was all the drinking and the socialising when I was 18. So I started exercising tons, doing loads of exercise all the time, squash, swimming, football, down the gym, running, you name it. But we'd also just booked up our first lads holiday. So that's the incentive, to look good by the pool, down by the beach. And it's here that I met my dream girl, right? She was laying by the pool, topless, and I just thought she's amazing. And like you do, we just have an English breakfast at 1 in the afternoon every day by the beach in Corfu, you know, and drink loads of beer and have loads of tequila. And my wife Still blames those tequilas now for why we got together, because there were a lot of them, and I blame my breasts, obviously, because there were a lot of them. Sorry, that was too much, was it? Okay. No, the one, she just had 2. It wasn't lots of breasts. But my eldest, when I first started comedy, my eldest came up with a joke when he was about 5. He said, "How do women catch men?" I said, "I don't know, Louis, how do women catch men?" And he said, "Booby traps." I had been made redundant twice by this point, and we settled into our house. I got this 3rd job, and a week after we moved into this lovely little railway cottage in a lovely little sleepy Sussex town, I was made redundant again. What a keeper, what a winner. She's got a real catch, that's what you're thinking. Well, I was obviously panicking. 3 redundancies in 2 years, and the company that made me redundant said, "Right, it's fine, because we don't, you're not out of a job, we know you've just got a new house. What are you going to do? We're going to move you, bless you, we're going to move you into this shit company who own us, a print company, and you can be a salesman for them," which is exactly what I studied a degree for. And I was just shitting my pants. I just thought, I've got to do something, I'm going to lose a wife, I'm going to do something, everything's going to go wrong. So I worked all the hours God sent, and this was pre-working contracted hours, the sort of company where if you turn up after 7 in the morning, the boss shouts, "Did you have a fucking good breakfast?" That sort of nice guy, And if you leave before 7 PM, they go, "What's this half day?" And they just wait, they're not laughing, they're just thinking, "He better fucking stay." And I was working about 75 hours a week, just working my arse off, desperate to just hold down some sort of job, albeit a sales job. Driving all over the place, driving about 2,000 miles a week. And it gets lonely. I don't know if anybody drives for a living, but it's tough. And you crave human interaction, don't you? And I would do anything to find another human. So I would stop at a service station, normally, which is deadly, and I'd fill up with fuel, and I would go and pay for the fuel in the service station, and I'd make the biggest mistake, because I would join what we call the fat queue. And now, if you don't know this, in a service station when you go to pay, there is a fat queue, which is everybody queuing to pay between the crisps and the chocolates. And there's a thin queue, which is all people queuing to pay between the diesel oil and the air fresheners. There's no temptation, right? So I'm in the fat queue. But it was all going good, right? All going good. I was putting on quite a bit of weight. And we had a great marriage, everything was super, and we were having good fun. And I got back from honeymoon, and my brother was quite ill. And like anybody with a man, they're like, "Oh, fucking hell, he's such a whinge bag, Jesus Christ, keep me up all night," his wife was saying, and stuff like that. Anyway, about 10 months later, my brother was dead. Which isn't comedy material, I'm sorry, but it's true. And I just was like, shit, it was horrific. He died of cancer, and not the big C. I hate people when they call it the big C. Don't hide from it, it's not, you don't walk under a Tesco sign and a letter falls on you, no, it's cancer. And it made me realise that time was ticking. I've got mates now who've got grandparents who are alive in their 90s, and I lost all my grandparents when I was sort of between the age 10 and 15, literally, they died, I didn't just lose them. And I just thought, shit, I'm in my mid-20s, and my brother, in his early 30s, is dead. I've got to sort some shit out. I remember when I was younger thinking that you think you're going to live forever when you're in your 20s and 30s, don't you? And when I was a kid, I watched a documentary on chocolate. Surprisingly. I searched for it on Amazon, it doesn't exist. But they were giving you all these facts. And they threw out this fact that said, the lethal dose of chocolate for a human being is 22 pounds. And even as a kid, I remember thinking, well, Jesus, I am immortal. That is a lunch break with Patrick. But these sorts of things just give you a kick up the arse. And you start realising that you've got to sort some stuff out. I mean, my health had already suffered a little bit, because in my mid-20s my back went for the first time. And I collapsed to the floor in the middle of Portsmouth shopping precinct. And I thought I was having a heart attack, my wife did, everybody did. And it was a nightmare. Anybody who's had a bad back, it never gets better. This was at about a time I was a little bit sporty as well. And I'd stretch and go and exercise and stuff. I mean, these days, if I stretch, I actually pull a muscle. So I mean, I'm getting to that sort of age. And my hair had started dropping out as well at this point. Now, of course, no matter how little shampoo is left in the bottle, there's always enough. And my barber said to me last weekend, James, I can downgrade the tools from scissors to nose trimmer. So it's a bit upsetting. Thank you, that was a massive laugh, that was lovely. If you could move around a bit, mate, that would be... Well done, that was good. And also, by this point, by the time I lost my brother, I'd already lost weight twice significantly, okay, from the age of 20 to 26, which is not good, is it? I'd gone to Slimming World, which I have to say is the shittest theme park ever. And I've done the Atkins diet. Has anybody heard of this Atkins diet?
Yeah.
Yeah. The original no carb diet. Dr. Atkins, who died of heart disease, and like the guy who jogging, who died of a heart attack jogging. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely. You couldn't write it. Well, maybe you did, but the Atkins diet is one of these diets that really does work. Okay, so if you want a quick fix, Atkins diet works where you just eat meat and cheese and fish and no carbs at all. You lose a lot of weight, but it gives you horrific bad breath, I have to warn you. But it does work. Me and my wife, we lost 11 friends. I'm a breath mint. I mean, the weight loss groups are a bit ridiculous, really. Anybody's been to one. It's predominantly women, and you know, the ladies, they just queue for the scales, and as they get closer and closer to the scales, they take more and more clothes off. It's like being in the shit strip club. And then like cardi comes off, the belt, the shoes, the socks, it's like, oh god. And then they get on the scales and go, oh Brenda, I lost half a pound. It's like, you've taken 3 pounds of clothes off since you walked in. No, that's compared to last week. They say, well, last week you were in a jumper and boots, you're now pretty much in a bikini. I think you've gone in yourself. But it does. The dieting, I suppose, does empower you a little bit. I mean, personally, and I think it goes for most people, you eat so much the night before you have a diet, you just think, oh God, I can't breathe. I'm going to burst like a peach, don't make me talk. And then on day one, you wake up, and after about an hour of dieting, you feel your stomach rumbling, and you think, shit, I must have lost half a stone by now. This is awesome. But you're back in control of food, and you think, this is it, I'm going to do it, until you get to day 3, and then you think, I am going to fucking kill someone. Now, my wife is doing her best, bless her, throughout all of this to encourage me to keep dieting. And from time to time she comes out with little ideas to inspire me, you know. And she did one at the beginning of March, and she said, James, I just want you to be serious on this diet. You know, you need to do it for yourself, get back on things. You know, me and the kids, we want you around for a bit longer. And I was like, oh, do you? But she said, you know, for the month of March, right, she said, every pound of weight that you lose, I'm going to give you, you know, yeah, naughty treat, right? I haven't had a good March, to be honest, and I jumped on the scales before I came over to Bath and worked out I owe her 4 blowjobs. So that's not great. It's not great. Don't panic, it's not possible. But some of the men are like, what? No, I don't think men are meant to diet, if I'm absolutely honest. I've joined so many rubbish weight groups. I joined Weight Watchers last summer. It was a shit group. I won the biggest weight loss award in the first week because I only put on 6 pounds. So it was pretty full. I think women and men are just different with the weight losses, you know. You ladies, when you lose or gain weight, it affects the 3 A's. This is my little observation. Okay, the 3 A's, the arms, arse and ankles, right? That's where I've noticed it. The men is the 3 T's, which is tits, tummy, tackle. That's basically what happens. We go, oh, I've got some tits. Shit, my tackle is gone. It's behind the tummy. When we don't sort of diet together, it's, well, when we diet together, it's a tricky one, me and my wife, because I will look at her after the first week and go, if she's lost more weight than me, I'll compliment her and go, you know, you're looking amazing, love. You just look gorgeous, you've lost the weight, you're looking stunning, beautiful, well done. And then the next week, I lost more weight than her, and I was a fucking arsehole. So it's just the way it goes. If we're not dieting together, and she's on a diet and I'm not, Christ almighty, that is a nightmare. She's sat on the sofa eating a Vita sprinkled with sparkling water, you know. And I'm on one of my 5 a day, you know, strawberry cheesecake Haagen-Dazs. And she's just staring at me. I can't believe you're eating that when I'm on a diet. Like I'm meant to go and eat it in the garage or something, which incidentally is where I ate the other 4. Oh, I don't know. We've done loads of dieting together, me and the missus, and you find any excuse to come off of a diet, don't you? It's ridiculous. We're going on holiday, so we're going to come off. We can enjoy it for the week. It's fun. It's your birthday. You've got to come off, have a bit of cake, go for a cut. It's Sandra's son's birthday. We're going out. Sandra, David's niece, you know, anything, isn't it? It's the weekend, let's let her hair down, let's go mental, let's get drunk, come on. I've had a tough day at work, alright, I'm opening that bottle of wine, and I'm having that pizza, and I'm having one of those fucking Haagen-Dazs that's in the fridge. Where's all the Haagen-Dazs gone? You could have eaten all 5, dickhead. Yeah, I did. Oh, I don't know. It's sometimes, when you've had a tough day at work, a carrot couscous dip just not going to swing it, is it? Ooh, goody. I find any excuse to go off of a diet, and I find temptation in unexpected places. I was sat in our downstairs bathroom a few days ago, and there on the air freshener it said, "Cozy apple and cinnamon." Oh, like a bloody murderer crumble. My wife lights a vanilla candle, my stomach starts rumbling. Are you using that cocoa butter hand cream again? And boot up the laptop, go on the website. This website has cookies. Oh shit! At least someone's getting cookies. Anyway, wherever you are, it just catches you unexpectedly, doesn't it? Anyway, back to the story. There's a story to this, apparently. I'm in this company, right? Remember, this horrible company, and I'd stuck with it. 6 years later, still, I'm climbing the ladder. I'm in charge of a big department. It's all going great. I'm the best salesman. Blah 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 blah. Oh, awesome! And then the unexpected happens. Didn't get made redundant. Thank you. I can see the eyes. You're a bit of a loser. No, unexpected happened. We got pregnant, which was also well. She did. I was starting to look it, but we did. We had our first child, Louis. And it was awesome, except that he went straight into intensive care, which was a nightmare. And another wake-up call, you're thinking, just stop hitting the snooze button, dickhead, but getting your alarm clock. No, it's amazing what happens when children arrive. And I started thinking, well, I'm working for this company who are paying me, like we used to call it golden handcuffs. They paid everybody so much more money than their competitors. You hated working there, but you couldn't leave because they paid you so much. So we were stuck there in this horrible job, and they treated me like an asshole. They were horrific to everybody all the time. But here I've got this little creature that's arrived in intensive care, and I've got to have some sort of pride in what I'm doing and self-respect, and how can I expect that to happen when these guys are treating me like this? So I said to my wife, I'm going to leave where I'm working. I'm going to walk out, I'm going to start my own business. And I know what you're thinking, that sounds an awesome idea, James. Your kid's in intensive care, your wife's got no job, you've got massive bills and a huge mortgage. Why don't you just walk out on this £5 a month job? You're a winner. No, I did, and she backed me up the whole way. She was with me, and I cold called my way home, and I picked up my first client, and I thought, here we go, we're off. It's going to work. Now, kids are the most inspiring things. Anybody who's got kids will know this. It's amazing, but you mums, I think you have a bit of an advantage because you have that chance to bond physically and biologically, and us guys as dads, I think, take a while to actually realise that we're dads and for that switch to flick. Obviously we love them when they're born and we adore them, but I remember when I was in Tesco's, avoiding the sea, and I was standing there with Louis when he was 1, holding his hand, and they told us how much it was, and there, as I went to pay, in my hand, I had more Lego than money. And I looked at him and I thought, yeah, I am definitely a dad. You got any money? Can you get some out of you, Isa? No, okay. The children are inspiring, but they're absolutely exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. It's crazy. They take up 100% of your energy, your mental energy, your physical energy, and you end up skipping meals and running around like a lunatic, and you don't sleep, and you're changing nappies, getting a stitch. It's ridiculous. You're finishing their food, and you're not eating properly at all. And then, whilst the weight's piling on, they hit the most energetic age ever of about 1.5, and they're like little whirlwinds. You can't keep up. You can't keep up. It's ridiculous. You see mums running down the aisles of Asda, don't you? Or we're at Bath, aren't we? Waitrose, right? I see some blank faces. Where is this Asda you talk about? Waitrose, John Lewis, all these. And you see mums running down there, catch him! You can't catch a running toddler. Catching a running toddler's like trying to grab a bit of paper flying away in the wind. Just as you get your foot on it. Parents turn up, and get your foot off him. I'm just trying to help, love. You were over at customer services, you was near at the door. Anyway, I'm down to master now. You don't put yourself first. This is the thing I'm trying to say. If you don't put yourself first, you're not the priority anymore, and you get a little spare time. But you do anything. I found this, and I'm sure my mum did this with the chocolate. You do anything to keep them quiet. You do anything to get them to do as they're told, you know. Finish your vegetables and then you can have the dessert. But I heard a classic version of this at McDonald's recently, where a young mum said to her kid, "You're not allowed any of that McFlurry until you finish your chips." Which I think is wonderful. You can't have those 1,000 calories until you have those 1,000 calories. Brilliant. Anyway, I mean, bribing is not the worst I've found with parents. The parents I'm not overly keen on are the ones you see out who probably wanted a dog, and they've got a kid, and they're walking around with their kid on a lead, aren't they, or a leash, whatever it is. I just think it's not that difficult to hold their hand or have them in a papoose or push them in a pram. Maybe just get one of those extendable dog ones, you know, just let the kid go, have a piss against the lamppost and then pull them back in. My mates, a nightmare, right? They've got pets that they treat like kids, which does my head in, dress them up. My mate said to me the other day, "I found Bonzo some popcorn for dogs in Sainsbury's." I'm pretty sure dogs didn't hunt popcorn in the wild. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just a bit sensitive because I'm not allowed popcorn at the minute. And he compares, right, I said to him the other day, I said, "Oh, Joe, bless him, he still likes to get in with his mummy and daddy on a Sunday morning." He's like, "Yeah, Bonzo's like that." My 8-year-old son is not the same as your 3-year-old pit bull. Can we just stop comparing the two? That'll be really nice. I mean, pets, that is something that happens, I think, when you have kids. You know, guys particularly, I think, probably get a little bit of a twinge. Anybody got pets? Anybody?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very excited. I've got a unicorn or something. That's brilliant. Yay! Well, you get married, and then you have kids, and then you get pets. And we have recently upgraded our pet before we were out of contract on a fish, so we ended up getting a cat. Now, like any guy in this room, right, I wanted to get a cat with a normal name, right? Gary, Steve, Dave, Colin, any of those, okay? What were you doing last night, James? I was watching the footy, eating some nachos with Dave. Sounds like I've got a normal life. Yeah? My kids picked a cat called Waffle. Now, you don't need to be told that with my weight issues, my neighbourhood find it bloody hilarious when we bring Waffle home. After a couple of days, we've let him out, and he doesn't come back. And old Muggins here's got to go out in the garden in his boxer shorts at 2 in the morning shouting, "Waffle!" Waffle! Waffle! Sounds like I'm in a diet crisis. Waffle! Warm it up! Put some ice cream on it! I'm wasted away! Yeah. Although a few days ago, I did discover, much to my wife and my kids' hate, that Waffle also answers to the name of Jeff, which is a bloody brilliant cat's name, isn't it? Doesn't sound great at 2 in the morning in your boxer shorts in the garden. Jeff! Jeff! Waffle! Sounds like I'm trying to coax a builder into some food. Come on, Jeff, follow me with some waffles. Stop doing that building. Anyway, good times. Don't get cats. But anyway, skip forward a few years, right? And my company is working really well. It's going really well. And we've moved to a big house, wonderful big house, and lots of grounds, and we've converted some buildings into offices, and it's all super and awesome. And we had a second child. We didn't go into intensive care, so that's all good news. And life was great. We were having a social life. I was starting to get into control of my fitness and my health and eating and stuff. We were only probably about 31 at this time, and we were having dinner parties, which is weird for someone in their early 30s, but when you're that young, you sort of invite a lot of people round, and halfway through the dinner party you realise you fucking hate all of them. But we were doing the thing, okay? And as everybody knows, I think by now, this was about 8 years ago, the recession hit, which was a wonderful time for everybody involved. And I remember my suppliers contacting me and saying, "Oh, we weren't paying like with the order," or they weren't paying for an order. And my customers were like, "We can't quite pay you. We'll have to leave it for a bit longer." And then the banks are coming in going, "Hey, that money where we supported you, we're not going to support you anymore." Anyway, I was 31 and I was getting loads and loads of phone calls. Crazy amount of phone calls from debt management companies and suppliers and customers and banks. And I remember thinking, if there was a way I could consolidate all these daily phone calls into one easy to manage monthly phone call, everything would be so much easier. That didn't happen, and cut a long story short, we lost everything. We ended up losing our house, our cars, our possessions, took the kids out of their schools. Everything just went pretty much overnight, and it was a horrifically awful experience, and I blame myself for a lot of it, not being able to see it, but then, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And we moved from this huge house, which had about 25 rooms, to a tiny little rented house with literally 4 rooms and a toilet. And this is when my health went completely out the window, because when you've got all these bad thoughts in your head and you're low and down and you're like, the last thing you want to do is spend some time in the kitchen for an hour preparing a healthy snack with your thoughts. So anytime we had a spare quid or two, we would go and buy Maltesers or popcorn, or we had a spare £5 and we'd go and get a Happy Meal, and that, this is about the sort of time where I hoped and prayed that McDonald's would introduce the same sort of policy that pubs have. You know, if you go to a pub and you've clearly drunk too much, they'll say, I'm sorry, we can't serve you. It would have just saved me a lot of health and money worries if when I walked into a McDonald's, they gone, I'm sorry sir, you've clearly eaten too much. We cannot serve you. Although I probably would have ended up like one of those kids outside newsagents begging for fags. Yeah. Just stood outside of McDonald's going, excuse me mister, can you give me a packet of nuggets? Just a McFlurry, just help me out. Anyway, it's, we didn't have...